There's a really big problem in black Hollywood. Most of the performers are over 40. Some are nearly 50 years old. How is this a problem? Without young performers, there aren't going to be any new faces in black media. And this is a big problem that many black performers are overlooking, and I think a lot of them are overlooking it because they are comfortable in their position in Hollywood as the token blacks, and they're not thinking about trying to bring anyone else up. Now, back in the old school days, people like Bill Cosby and Harry Belafonte and many others, they would make an effort to try to bring up new, fresh faces and new, fresh stars because they knew how important it was to develop, new, fresh talent so that when they were getting old and they decided to leave or they decided to get behind the camera, there would be some fresh faces to put in front of it. But this generation, I believe the Gen X group, they have not really made an effort to cultivate and develop fresh new faces in film. They have not taken effort to offer roles to young, fresh, talented actors and actresses and give them a shot at a big break. They have not made any efforts to do that at all. And that's really hurting black Hollywood overall, and it's going to hurt it long term because a lot of our performers are headed towards, again, being 40 and 50 years old. I look at, many of our beautiful black actresses like your Halle Berrys, your Sally Richardsons, your Layla Rashawns. Back in the day, these women were the poster girls, and they were on the covers of Ebony and Essence, and they sold magazines and they sold on the posters. But now these women are almost 50 years old, and we have no young, beautiful black females out here to be on the cover. And even worse, we have no leading men out here. When it comes down to our leading men, we got guys like your Morris Chestnut, your Michael Ealy, your Will Smith, and your Jamie Foxx. Again, these guys are my age, I'm 42, and older. And that really hurts, African American filmmaking because we really need some young, fresh talent. I mean, it's going to be hard to sell old, gray headed guys to a young audience. The entertainment business is a young man's game, and you need fresh, young faces, and there is no real effort being made by many to develop those young, fresh faces. I mean, even films featuring young, fresh talent, like Dope, they get ignored. And I think these type of films should have been pushed to the forefront. You think magazines like Ebony and any other black publications out there will be trying to feature these kids prominently so that we could try to develop some new, fresh faces. I mean, I look at opportunities that were blown, like when Pride was out, you had Evan Ross out here, very, very talented young man. They pretty much gave him no time. And he was a guy who deserved the push because I looked at his performance in Pride as one of the best performances I saw in that film. And he had leading man material, but, nobody thought to give him a push at all. Instead, we spend our time trying to push older actors at the expense of young talent. And I believe that young talent really needs the push because this is how you're going to sell box office primarily to black audiences by pushing that next generation of performers. And there is no real plan or real efforts being made to develop that next generation of young talent and young performers in black Hollywood. Black Hollywood, as I've seen it, has been extremely selfish and has made every effort to push, these same old performers who are, you know, getting long in the tooth instead of trying to develop new, fresh faces and new talent. I mean, most of our performers really should be getting behind the camera and learning skills and moving that point and letting the younger guys get in front of it. That's usually how the cycle goes, but we're not seeing that being done these days. Instead, we still continue to see people who are 40, 45, 50 years old still trying to play roles like that were clearly written for 20 somethings. And even these days, I'm seeing the screenwriters, not making any efforts to try to modify these scripts so that these older performers won't embarrass themselves by trying to play a role that they really don't fit. Um, and it's really, I see it, a complete mess. When it comes down to Black Hollywood, a lot of people are like in a bubble, and they're not really focused on the future or you know developing things for younger talent. Nobody's really focusing on developing material for tweens, teens, the biggest audiences out there. Instead, we're getting films like Your Perfect Guy, which is just filled with older performers, or your Straight Out of Compton, which was a biopic about the past. Instead of us focusing on developing these performers' skills and talents in material that they can relate to today, like a lot of us related to in the 1980s with movies like School Days and Do the Right Thing, which really Spike Lee helped elevate a lot of young performers. Same thing with Robert Townsend and Keenan Ivory Wayans. They made every effort to build roles for new black performers and create jobs for new black performers. But I'm not seeing anybody who came up from that group trying to pay it forward to the next generation of kids out there who really want to get a role out here and show what they can do. And I'm looking at it now, and we really need to start creating material for the younger performers. It's something that I believe that we really need to start doing because if the only way for us to get you know images in media is that for us to create them, and we have to start developing the craft of the next generation of performers because I'm looking at it now and I don't see, any effort to create new fresh faces and new fresh stars in Black Hollywood or from even the indie. I see it from the indie crowd because with Dope, it was a big effort, you know, to create roles for those young performers. And they did a great job in that film. But we really need more people developing work for our young talented performers so that they can go out here and showcase their talent and abilities because I keep asking who I asked in a blog like 2 or 3 years ago, um, where's the next generation of stars coming from? And I really think that black people really have to start thinking about developing, media for the next generation because the resources are here. We have streaming, we have all these tools and resources, and we have an opportunity to create a platform for our performers and a place for our work to be shown. But we just have to go out and make the efforts to support these young performers and help them take themselves to the next level.